This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Thank you for being with us today. I saw this last night, and this, I don't know if you'll be surprised by this. I mean, you'll be pleased by this, I think. And I'm curious to see how he does. But Kerry Hyder is now a head football coach.
Awesome.
He's going to be the head football coach at Bishop Dune Catholic School. So apparently his
career's over? I thought he was still in the league.
No, that's what I thought too. Apparently he didn't play anywhere in 2024. Was released by the 49ers in October of 23, then was picked up by the Texans. But no, apparently he is done playing football. So, you know, he had a decent career. He's only, you know, I say this, you know, maybe in football terms this is old. He's only 33 years old. But he played for the Jets. He was with them as a off-season and practice squad member, then was with the Lions from 2015 to 2018, spent 2019 with the Cowboys, 2020 with the 49ers, 2021 with the Seahawks, 22 to 23 with San Francisco, and then was with the Houston Texans in 2023. So in his NFL career, he had 163 tackles, 6 fumble recoveries, and 4 deflections. So I think he had a little challenge staying healthy. But I mean, here's an example of a guy who was not drafted, you know, coming off the 2013 season. The Jets signed him as an undrafted free agent defensive tackle. His contract was included a $4,000 signing bonus. $4,000. And he was released in August of that year and then signed to the team's practice squad a day later. He had signed coming out. I mean, I guess this is the, you know, what you get to do if you're in the NFL, if you make it, the carrot. Because when they signed him on May 11th of 2014, according to his Wikipedia, he signed a 3-year, $1.53 million contract. And then June, July, 3 months later, basically, he's released. But you can't spend that money. But man, I bet you the temptation is sure there.
Sure.
You know, you start wanting to cash checks more than anything else. In 2017, he had some injuries. He had a torn Achilles, and that's so hard to come back from. You know, for any player, especially a defensive guy that's, you know, pushing off on that leg. I mean, I get it with the basketball guys, and I mean anybody. I mean, just regular Joes that have a torn Achilles. I'm sure it's a certain challenge coming back from. So at any rate, he's going to be the head coach at Bishop Dune Catholic School.
Well, congratulations and good luck to Kerry.
Yeah. That is in Dallas, is where that school is. Okay? Just so you know. Apparently it's a college prep school there in Dallas. This question from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, Jeff has responded to it. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. The question from this texter is Grant McCasland a better coach than Chris Beard and or a better fit for Texas Tech?
Well, Jamie shares things upon his answer.
I think he's a better fit because
he's here and hasn't left.
Well, I mean, Beard was here 5 years, so I mean, you know, this is year 2 for McCasland.
He seems more genuine of a person to me, which is a big deal to me. I can't stand fake. And Chris Beard, 15 minutes after him arriving here, to me became very obvious that he was fake. I never got that feel from Grant McCasland. Better coach thing, I think they're both great coaches. be hard to at this point say one's better than the other. I mean, one took you to a national championship game, so I feel like he's got a little bit more skins, but he's had more time to coach. Mm-hmm. So I think
at least coach you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're both great coaches. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't think there's any chance that Grant McCasland wouldn't do the same thing that Chris Beard did and leave for his alma mater. I don't have any idea. I don't know Coach McCasland well enough to be able to say, no, he is 100% bought into Texas Tech. I think right now he's bought into Texas Tech, but we all know things change. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's pining for and wishing for Baylor right now as he prepares for Colorado this week. I think he's focused on Texas Tech and Colorado. But I think he's a great fit here. I don't necessarily feel like I felt that way about Chris Beard because I just didn't think he was a genuine guy. And so I didn't feel like he really fit who we are in West Texas, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I would say that I say we, collective fan base, I'm not saying you, but I think we thought that he was a guy that was the perfect fit for Texas Tech, because when Tubby Smith left, the thought immediately was, oh man, sure wish Chris Beard hadn't gotten the job at UNLV. Sure wish Tubby Smith had left 2 weeks before, and then come to find out that not everything was locked down as far as Beard was concerned at UNLV. And then so you went and got him and brought him here. And I would say after 2 years and after 3 years, I mean, a significant portion of the community was in love. And even after year 4, going to the national championship game. So
I think the people that knew him knew that they were dancing with the devil.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right on that.
The people in the athletic department knew that they were, this is going well with wins and losses, but it feels icky.
Yeah, and that
he's
was
not
who he said he was.
Not much of a guy.
Yeah. Somebody off the chat line, maybe this is the best way to say it. He's easily a better person than Beard.
Yeah, no, feels that way.
Feels that way.
But again, I'm not around Coach McCasland a lot, but he sure comes across as a lot better human being than Chris Beard did. I wasn't around Chris Beard a ton either, but just by his comments, you could tell he was as fake as he could possibly be.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is Tuesday. It is March the 4th. Here's Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
Big day coming up later this week, for sure.
Well, today's kind of a big day, too.
I mean, yeah, but there's like a big day coming up.
Oh, okay.
Like 2 days from now.
Massive?
Thursday. It's the day after the work gets done.
The day after the work gets done, right.
Well, there's a lot of work done on that day. 1927, Babe Ruth becomes the highest paid player in Major League Baseball history when he signs a 3-year, $70,000 per season contract with the New York Yankees.
1927?
1927.
Okay.
1967, World Ladies Figure Skating Championship in Vienna is won by Peggy Fleming from the United States. She won a lot. Like, the last month, I probably could have mentioned Peggy Fleming every day. 1984, tennis legend Martina Navratilova beats her WTA Tour retains her WTA Tour championship in New York City, beats Chris Everett 6-3, 7-5, 6-1 for her 5th overall championship title. Those two battled a lot.
They did
at the end.
That was fun.
Tournaments and everything. Like, it was the Federer Nadal type.
Yes, absolutely.
Going back and forth.
Absolutely. Much like McEnroe and Connors and McEnroe and Borg, but Chrissy and Martina were always combatants.
1995, George Foreman loses the WBA boxing title, refusing to fight Tony Tucker.
Tony Tucker.
He was getting ready for the Foreman grill, so it was okay. And in 2019, Jarrett Culver led the Red Raiders with 16 points and 7 rebounds, while Matt Mooney had 15 points. Brandon Francis added 12 to lead the reserves, and Davide Moretti went for 11 points after going 3 for 3 on three-pointers in a 70-51 win over Texas.
I wish we had a tape from then to compare kind of our projection of how we felt about that Red Raider team, going forward.
That would have been interesting to know.
So like what did we think about that team on March the 4th as it was going down the stretch? I think we felt like they were a pretty good team. I'm not sure that we felt like they were a Final Four team. And once you've, I think, been to the Final Four as a program, then those are you know that it's possible. So it makes I don't know that it makes the path any easier, but I think for the fan base it does. Because it becomes more, real, much like going to Omaha for Texas Tech baseball.
It is National Pound Cake Day.
Okay.
You know why it's called pound cake?
You're going to tell us.
Well, I was asking if you know first.
I do not know.
Typically, the pound cake is a type of cake traditionally made with a pound of each of their 4 ingredients: flour, butter, eggs, and sugar. That is a very expensive cake to make right now for a pound of eggs. I mean, because eggs
a pound of eggs?
It's a pound of each, all 4.
I mean, eggs don't weigh anything.
Yeah, that's a lot of eggs. Happy birthday, Draymond Green, 35. Catherine O'Hara, 71. Patricia Eaton, is 67. Kevin Johnson, 59. Michael Gallup, 29. And Jay Gruden is 58.
Okay, it's John Gruden's brother.
And on this day in 1789, the first session of the U.S. Congress is held in New York City as the United States Constitution takes effect. However, of the 22 senators and 59 representatives called to represent the 11 states who had ratified the document, only 9 senators and 13 representatives showed up to begin negotiations for its amendments. It would take until September 25th of that year, after 7 months of debate, the first Congress of the United States adopted 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. We know them collectively as the Bill of Rights, and sent them to the states for ratification. This action is what led to the eventual ratification of the Constitution by the last of the original 13 colonies, North Carolina and Rhode Island. And that is This Day in Sports History.
This Day in Sports History, 6:50. Today is also Fat Tuesday, day of feasting and celebration that takes place before the fasting of Lent. I'm not going to fast anything this year. It's also known as Mardi Gras, Shrub Tuesday, and Pancake Tuesday. Okay? Pancake Tuesday. Fat Tuesday is the last day of eating rich foods before Lent. You're going to still eat some rich foods after today, probably, right?
I'm not really a rich food eater.
Okay.
I don't really do the big steaks or anything.
How can Jamie get past Lent?
Right. In New Orleans, groups called Crews organize parades and distribute beads. I would like to go to Mardi Gras one time. I think that would be fun.
Think of all the hands you could shake.
Oh, my wife showed me a picture of Bourbon Street the other day. She grew up some in New Orleans before they moved to Lubbock. And so I'm sure that...
I think I would, one evening of Mardi Gras would be cool. I think that'd be enough for me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that would be a little too much, but I think for the one evening, I would just like to see the craziness of it and then be like, yeah, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How long do you think you'd last? Think you'd last an hour or two?
Oh, yeah, I'd be fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I could, like I said, one evening.
Yeah, I think I'm
seeing it.
I think I'm with you on that. I would.
A few hours, 3-4 hours, whatever. Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, I've seen enough.
I would. I think I'd like to see you. Somebody says this. Okay, who knew? About 9 large eggs to get a pound, Jeff.
That is still a lot of eggs.
You said Babe Ruth signed that in 1923 or 1927?
27.
So I did the math on... I didn't do the math on that. I Googled the math on that. $1.277 million. In fact, $1,277,000 $1,986.78 is what it's equivalent to today. It would still be a very cheap contract by today's notion, right?
Mm-hmm. They didn't have the TV deals back then that we do now.
Right. Somebody off this chat line said, today is Fat Tuesday. Yes. You know what I tried to do last night? And I'm sure there's an app for that. I'm not sure I had enough room on my phone. I was having a shoestring problem. And when I got to the store, trying to determine how long a shoestring I needed, because they no longer do like how many eyelets you have. It's how many inches it is. And so I had my old shoestring, because the ones that I put in on Sunday were too long. And so the one I was trying to get a shoestring, and I was like trying to figure out I was trying to measure it against a box to see if I was getting the right length. I ended up buying two different ones, and I guessed right, but I think it should be just a little bit longer. But I was thinking, surely my phone could measure and scan my shoestring. But you'd have to download an app for that. Because I Googled measure on my phone, then I got all these measuring tapes. I thought, surely I should be able to measure. This phone can do everything, right?
I've never heard of anybody using it that way.
As a measuring tape, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was trying to figure it out last night, but I didn't. I was unsuccessful, but I was just happy to find dress shoe laces at a place that was like at the very bottom of the barrel. But I was like, okay, I'm glad to get it. Mm-hmm. Glad to get it. All right, 6:53 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Thanks for helping us out with the 9 large eggs to get a pound. Who knew?
That guy knew.
That guy knew, or lady knew, one or the other, right?
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. Let's see here. Some things here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Kobe writes in, if last season had gone better, it would be less vociferous. That's fair.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think I made reference to that.
You did? Yep.
I think that's totally fair.
As Ron Washington would say, that's how baseball go. I don't know, because I don't feel like this is a that's how baseball go scenario right now, because sometimes the that's how baseball go is a weird hop here or there.
The first weekend was that's how baseball go.
Okay.
That's the way baseball go. You had
they were just better than you.
Yeah. And you had some chances, but they were a better team. The second weekend is not. There was a lot of disappointment in the second weekend.
The UC Irvine weekend. Is that what you're talking about, or this past weekend?
You just look at Friday's loss, and you see a team that couldn't get a hit when they needed a hit.
Yeah.
0 for 11 with runners in scoring position, and you lose a game 6-4. And then you look at Sunday's game, and you gave up 9 free passes, and then some errors, and you gave up 3 or 4 unearned runs, and you lose the game by 1. And I mean, you just felt like you beat yourself over and over and over again. Offense kept coming back, and your pitching and defense just kept giving it back to them. Mm-hmm. So you feel like you beat yourself. And then this weekend, in both of the losses, you just self-destructed in an inning or two, and it cost you.
Yeah, and
it just cost you, and you looked bad doing it. You looked just bad doing it.
I'm going to break some news to a few. You have a right to be frustrated as a fan, but ragging on the coaching staff behind a keyboard is not improving the team. I mean,
what? That's exactly how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's like this. And I know 2-7 is bad. I know that. It just seems like that it was a quick strike this year, and maybe that's the hangover from last year. It feels like a football situation where it doesn't get off to a swimmingly good start, even in wins. And sometimes people are like, "Oh man,
I'm here to tell you, if you're 4-5, I'm not feeling that bad about things.
Mm-hmm.
No,
that's only 2 games.
Yeah,
okay, because I knew the schedule was going to be tough early, and and the 2 teams you're about to play for the next 5 games this week, 3 of which on the road aren't pushovers by any stretch of the imagination either. So I mean, you get through this week at going 500, winning 3 out of 5, and I'm saying it's probably a pretty good week and a step in the right direction. And then Big 12 plays right around the corner, but next a week from this Friday. So, I don't know. I'm not. I think fans are fans. You guys saying that it's not, or the texter saying that it's not going to help anything with these keyboard warriors or whatever. I'd also tell you it's not going to hurt anything. I don't think it's causing the coaching staff
They're not really paying attention
players
to that.
any problems. What's causing the players problems right now is not playing good enough baseball. Yeah.
I think you could insert a lot of fan bases in this, but this statement: Red Raider fans are passionate, but also irrational, and at many times very fair weather. I think you could put almost any, team name in there from any sport.
Yeah.
Pick a sport, pick a team, pick a school, and put your team in there, and there's going to be a fan base that's passionate. You have a lot of Pink Raiders that are happy when you win and don't see the strength and schedule, as well as the fact that Tadlock built this schedule to struggle early to succeed late.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to criticize your question or whatever, but your fan base is frustrated because your team's not playing well. That's the story. It's not the fan base. Yeah. The story is your team's not playing well. Yeah. Specifically not pitching and playing great defense.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I guess my question was just more along the lines of I've just been a little surprised at how quickly it's become so critical.
You spend
so fast.
And again, if this team or coaching staff is spending any time worried about what the fans think, then that's time spent away from worrying about being better. Sure. And so I don't think it's affecting anything. Okay. I think when you start playing better, your fans will turn their opinions and they'll start showing up. I mean, we know how it is when you're playing well. Hey, we got the greatest team in the country. Nobody can touch us, right?
Best in the business,
when
man.
Your team is playing poorly, oh my gosh, we're terrible. We should fire everybody. Those are the same people, right?
Oh yeah, no, I understand.
We get it. I understand, and so I don't think anybody in the baseball program is upset about the way the fans are acting.
I would be surprised if they were. All right, so let's talk about today's game. You play UC San Diego, and the starting pitcher for today, Jamie, tell us about him. Johnny Lowe, Jonny Lowe, 0-0 with a 9 ERA.
He's one of those guys that they felt like could be a starter. He's a junior college transfer, and they would use him in the spring and the fall scrimmages and give him 4 innings of work, and so he's a guy that clearly they felt like had a chance to be one of their starters, and so he's a guy that. They feel like is not just a 1 inning at a time guy. He can be a starter, and so I'm sure they'll let him go as long as he can go today, even though his first 2 appearances were just 1 inning. His first appearance against UC Irvine, he came in and got 2 outs with runners in scoring position and looked really good doing it, and then came out the next inning and gave up a run, and so that's kind of what we've seen from Johnny so far is that. The inconsistency that we've seen from a lot of these Tech pitchers at this point of the year.
And so what you need tonight is just a good dose of everybody go out and throw a couple innings and not worry about what happens behind you.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of guys that you want to use, and so I wouldn't be surprised if, you see 6 or 7 different guys go today for an inning or a 2 or whatever. But at the same time, if Johnny goes out there and is throwing well, I'm sure they'd let him pitch 4 or 5 innings too and be happy to see him do it.
From a hitting standpoint, I mean, you feel like this team is, I don't know if the word rolling is the right way, but I mean, feels like they're at least clicking than they were better this past weekend than previous.
Yeah, for the last 5 games, I've thought you swung the bats really well. Okay, so take the first 4 out where you struggled, couldn't get the key hits. I think the last 5 games you've done well for yourself. Now, are there certain guys that you want to see get going? Absolutely. Guys that you felt like have a chance to make a big impact, the Logan Hugheses of the world, the Tracer Lopez's of the world. I think Coach Tadlock is still trying to figure this thing out with the infield, and you got plenty of good bats there, but you got to figure out who can be solid defensively. So 9 games in, you would have loved to have been a little bit more solidified where we're going to play this guy at short, we're going to play this guy at third, we're going to play this guy at second, and I don't think you're anywhere close to that at this point. You're trying to figure out who can go out there and give you solid defense and at the same time, be a threat at the plate. And so, TJ Pompey clearly in that mix, who has struggled defensively. The Red Raiders this weekend twice moved him over to shortstop, and he made spectacular plays. And it just looks like, gosh, the tools are there, the skill is there, but then there'll be a simple play that he's not able to make. And so that's head scratching for the coaching staff and frustrating all at the same time. And
kind of reminds you of TJ Vasher just a little bit.
Sometimes, yeah.
Who could make an absolutely unbelievable catch and then
drop the easy one. Yeah. So trying to figure that out. I mean, you got guys that you want in the lineup, but you got to figure out where they can play defense, and so that's the challenge right now with Coach Tadlock, trying to find that perfect mix of, hey, we want to put a good defensive unit out here, but we also want to be really offensive as well, and so. That's the challenge you're finding right now, finding two-way players that can do it in some key spots.
All right, so tonight it's Tech and UC San Diego. We'll have the broadcast for you at 6, play-by-play at 6:30. Tomorrow, that game is moved to a 2 o'clock first pitch, so our coverage at 1:30 on both 100.7 The Score and Double T 97.3.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen. We're talking Red Raider football today.
Okay. I kind of figured that you were going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Just like to mix it up to the other sports as well, since we haven't really touched on them as much. We've talked a lot of basketball and baseball. So my question for you guys today is, what returning player, do you feel like needs to take a big step forward in 2025?
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess for me, and this may sound just really stupid, but if your football team is going to be what you think it's going to be, the most important position on the field is quarterback, right? And I feel like your quarterback, whoever it's going to be, has to take a big step forward to be the dominant, to be a player. Whether it's throwing the ball down the field or directing the team on the field or making that big play when you need it, converting on a first down, bringing you back from a deficit, not making a critical interception. So I'm just going to tell you, for me, it's got to be quarterback, and if that's Baron Morton, so be it.
Okay, Jeff?
Everyone that's returning for the offensive line. I mean,
you've replaced your offensive line with the guys.
No, not all of them.
Not all of them, and
I think there's 2 returning starters, isn't there?
And your backups. I mean, everyone that has the OL as their position. I love Taj, as this became very clear throughout the past year. Part of the reason we love Taj is because he could break tackles, and yards after contact was huge.
Sure.
How about we push where his yards after contact was past the line of scrimmage instead of in the backfield? How about we protect your quarterback a little bit better? It just, everyone that has an OL next to their position group is where I'm going to start that list.
Okay, so this one's, to me, I'm looking, first off, I'll say, as far as Baron Morton goes, I think if Baron Morton has the season that he had last year, and he's able to stay healthy, all that good stuff, then I don't think he needs to take a big step forward. I think he just needs to do that again. I would be happy if he had bigger numbers than he had last year, but and you would think without Taj Brooks there that he has the potential to do that. But I don't. I guess I'm just in the camp if he's what he was a season ago, then you're pretty good on offense, right? And as far as that position goes,
Okay, I guess I just felt like that. Did he ever really take over a game? I mean, you didn't really ask him to.
You didn't ask him to because Taj Brooks was
you didn't
your guy.
need to, right? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
I get a sense, Chuck, that you're not sold on our starting quarterback. You also don't. You've said that you're not certain that he'll be back for next year to start the season in time, health-wise, and so maybe that's part of it.
I just question whether you can come back from a shoulder surgery and that position can be what it's supposed to be when you're not going to go through spring training and you're not going to be ready until the summer. I mean, everything. When you just say it like that, it speaks to that's a problem.
So Barron last year, let's see, 295, 466, 27 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, threw for 3,335 yards. You feel like he needs to be a much better quarterback than that.
I guess I just felt like
27 to 8 on the touchdown to picks. Took care of the football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just say give us that again and we're good.
Okay.
I don't think you're expecting him to become, Michael Vick or anything. Just do that, Barron.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want, so let me give you my answer and then we'll continue the conversation.
Okay.
I want to say Jacoby Williams, but I don't think he's going to be the starter. And so I think it's going to be Quentin Joyner and the transfer from USC at that running back position.
Mm-hmm.
And so as much as I want Jacoby to get his shot, I don't think he's heading into the season as the guy. Sure, he thought he was going to be, but he's not going to be. I like Jeff's answer about the offensive line. I just feel like any of those guys coming back, you want them to be better.
Mm-hmm.
My answer is John Carlos Miller, and that's the reason is because you lost those other two tight ends,
mm-hmm.
right? Their eligibility expired or whatever, and now he's heading into the season as the guy. But you could say the same thing about him that we just said about the running back position, because you've brought in another a tight end that was supposed to be one of the best in the transfer portal as well. And so, I mean, is he going to get that chance to be the guy, or is it going to be a tight end by committee again this upcoming season? So that will be interesting to see. But, I think Miller's got to be, because you've lost those other two. They all kind of had something they did better than the other, and they were all used a lot. Well, he's got to step up this year, in my opinion.
And they used him on defense a little bit too last year.
That's true, they did. Yeah, Terrence Carter Jr. is the tight end that you brought in.
So I wonder if JC will move over and play some defense as well. But I like that. I like that answer. I guess I just want to, I just kind of I long for the day of throwing the ball down the field a little bit, and I just feel like that we could be a little bit more offensive with our offense.
Man, if running the football more is able to help your defense out
mm-hmm.
a little bit, if running the football more is what you do well, if you've
mm-hmm.
got like you did last year, as far as you had a great running back last couple of seasons, then I'm all for it. I'm like you, Chuck. I like passing too. That's fun. I mean, I would tell you I enjoy the pass plays more than run plays. They're just more exciting. But at the same time, if you're playing complementary football and running the football is better, I mean, Baron Morton manage a game. Like I said, 27 to 8 is pretty good on the touchdowns interception ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of the football. Don't get us beat. Yeah, I think if Baron Morton is who Baron Morton was last year, I think you have a good chance to have a really good year.
Okay. 7:40 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thank you for being with us today. Your thoughts, your reaction. Yates Flooring Center chat line. Am I crazy? I could be. I unfortunately have never been tested to see if I'm certified crazy.
I don't think there's a test that needs to be done.
We got plenty of examples.
I think we're good. It's 3 hours every morning.
Plenty of anecdotal history. Yeah.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Thank you for being with us today. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. Man, I'm glad I'm not a teller today. Wow. Although they have the little thing that goes through to the inside. Maybe working at the dry cleaners would be the worst job today. The door constantly opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing. And, somebody rolling down their window and, can I pick this up for George, please? That kind of thing. Right?
The wind just blows
in there and blows everything. It wrecks everything, yeah.
Yeah, I would think working outside all day long would be the worst.
Yes, right. If you're, laying brick or something today, although maybe
on a roof probably, or you could be blown off of the roof.
Setting up a game day stage.
Oh, you're not going to do that today, though.
Huh? No, I do not have to do that today.
You don't have to do that today.
Thank the maker, yes.
Yes. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Chuck is our Bob Euchre. You just never know if he's serious or not. Syntax Inc.
No, or worried that he might be serious? Those are the two things we have to question.
Probably. I'm driving into Amarillo, and I'm getting snow and rain. Hope you have a good baseball game this evening.
Wow.
Yikes.
It is truly amazing to me, the difference in the weather between Amarillo and Lubbock.
I agree.
And it's like halfway between Amarillo and Plainview is where that line is.
Right. About Tulia.
There'll be like feet of snow in Amarillo, and we won't even see a cloud in the sky kind of concept.
Yes. No, you're exactly right.
And it's not like, it is further north, don't get me wrong, and it's a little higher up, but it's not like Colorado high.
Yeah.
It's not up way in the mountains elevation. It's just such a drastic difference with the weather, though.
Yeah. This drunken sailors can be entertaining. That's why he's on TV.
Completely agree. Everybody has, some people have like a shtick that they go with, that helps them, whether they're super opinionated or they say crazy things or whatever. That's kind of his. He says crazy things. That's his shtick.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I have.
I think you say smart things too, Chuck.
Okay, good. I'm glad I still have a smart component to me.
At times, you just say things that you're like, I'm going to get people fired up when you say this.
Kevin says this. I understand Chuck's point. Morton had sneaky good numbers, but never seemed to dominate. This is with regard to Jamie's question of the day to which player you would like to see take a big step forward. This Chuck is my favorite, but maybe not intentional, but he hates Baron Morton. I do not hate Baron Morton. I just want to see more from him. Most any school would pay for his numbers very quickly. This basically understands.
I think Chuck is, he's, as a Red Raider fan, he's grown up watching the air raid.
Yep, it's probably
Baron is not, putting up those kind of numbers. But if you notice, the air raid didn't run the ball very much.
Right. Dallas says this. I understand what you're saying, Chuck. It just doesn't seem like he was electric, even like he had been in some spot starts before.
Yeah, I don't think he was electric when it came to running the football or that in that regard, because you wanted to make sure to protect him.
Yeah. Why do you say whoever it's going to be, Chuck? It's Morton as the starter, period. Okay.
As long as he's healthy, I think it's him.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I think we can deduce from how Joey McGuire ranks what's important for quarterbacks, experience as a starting quarterback at the Division I level
is a big deal.
Like, that's number one. Like, talent, you've got to have extraordinary more talent to make up for having the experience on the field. At least that's the way I take it.
Honestly, what I want to see more than anything from the football team next year,
wins.
I want to see better decision making on the sidelines when it comes to, are we going to punt the ball or are we going to go for it on fourth down? I think we saw that in the back half of the year, but there were some games where I felt like it cost you when you decided to decide the game in the third quarter. by going for it from your own 31 or 32 yard line. I think it got better as the season went on. The last 3 or 4 games of the year was better at that.
See, I don't remember that being an issue last year.
I feel like that was the year before.
Yeah.
Okay, but we still had some of that last year.
Can you give us a specific example?
No, just what's in my memory. I mean, like I said, I think it was better the last 3 or 4 games.
I think I can agree with what you're saying. If we went back to 2023, I don't remember. And that's not to say that I agreed with every decision that the coaching staff made, because I didn't. But
I don't feel like there were any outliers in their decision making.
I feel like we went for our own 30 at all last year.
Okay, well, I feel like the Baylor game or the Colorado game, there was something there that was not quite up to
something there.
No, it's quite up to oil.
Yeah, there was something
it was
there.
the way the team played.
Scott says this, knowing
or the horrible roughing the passer call against Colorado.
Scott says it's snowing in Clovis, okay? Snow, sleet, and rain in Muleshoe and Clovis this morning also. I think being a farmer might be the worst. I think being a farmer is challenging no matter if it's a beautiful day. I think it's still a challenge. I think it's still hard work being a farmer.
I imagine it's very hard work.
That Paul Harvey commercial I still Google that every once in a while. That Paul, I'm not a big watch the video guy. You know, people come and go, hey, watch this video. Hey, watch this. Hey, watch this. I'm usually I'm not that guy. But every once in a while, there's 2 videos I'll go back and look at from time to time. The God Made Me a Farmer that Paul Harvey did in the Super Bowl. I think that's just it's a 2-minute commercial, but I think it's just nails. And then I go back from time to time, and this is just so stupid. But I like watching that Super Bowl 100 when they had all the stars,
fun.
and had at the celebration dinner. And just it's fun going back and seeing that now, and seeing like Mahomes as a very young quarterback, and Tom Brady saying to Baker Mayfield, "Hold my rings," and stuff like. I mean, obviously Mayfield he's had a good career. He's not gotten any rings yet though. So I don't know. That's just. Chuck, we threw the ball for decades of mediocrity. Can't have a good defense playing that way. Okay. I understand. Can't always communicate everything that's going on inside my brain, but I try as best I can. And sometimes it's not good when I do that, because it gets miscombobulated.
I'm all up in that, homie.
What I'm thinking and what I'm speaking and what you're hearing. Sometimes those dots don't always connect.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.